Well, hello. Back to our book. I then saw Christian go up the hill. At first I could see him run, then walk, and then go on his hands and knees. So steep was it. Halfway up was a park made by the Lord of the hill, that those who came by might rest there. So there he is, resting. So here Christian sat down, took out the scroll, and read it. At last he fell asleep, and while he slept, his scroll fell from his hand. After he had slept a long time, a man came up to him and woke him, saying, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise." At this Christian gave a start and went on his way as fast as he could. When he had got near to the top of the hill, two men whose names were Timorous and Mistrust ran up to meet him. "Sirs, what's the matter?" Christian called to them. "You've run the wrong way." "We were going to the city of Zion," said Timorous, "but the farther we go, the more danger we meet there. Therefore we turned around and are going back." "Yes," said Mistrust. "Just in front of us we saw two lions on our path. We did not know if they were awake or asleep, but we thought that they would catch us and tear us in pieces." Okay. "So, Christian, you make me afraid. But where can I go to be safe? If I go back to the city of destruction, I am sure to lose my life. But if I can get to the celestial city, there shall I be safe. To turn back is death, to go on is fear of death, and everlasting life beyond it. I will yet go forward." So Mistrust and Timorous ran down the hill, and Christian went on his way. Okay, so Timorous and Mistrust are right here, and they're watching as Christian is going up that steep hill. So Christian's going to keep going. As Christian went on, he thought once more of what he had heard from Timorous and Mistrust. Then he felt in his cloak for his scroll so that he might read it and find some peace. He felt for it, but found it not. Then was Christian in great distress, and he knew not what to do. He had lost the scroll which could give him such comfort. At last he thought, "I slept in the park by the side of the hill." So he fell down on his knees and asked God to forgive him for sleeping when he should have been working. Then he went back to look for his scroll, but as he went he told himself over and over how foolish he had been. "Oh, fool that I am," said he, "to sleep in the daytime. The Lord of the hill made the park for rest, but not for laziness." With tears and sighs he went back, and with much care he looked on this side and on that for his scroll. After a time he came near to the cave where he had sat and slept. "How far," thought Christian, "have I gone in vain?" Such was the lot of Jews for their sin. They were sent back to the way of the Red Sea. And I am made to walk those steps with grief which I might have walked with joy, if only I had not been lazy. How far might I have been on my way by this time? I am made to walk those steps 3 times which I should only have walked once. And now, too, I am likely to be lost in the night, for the day is almost over. Oh, that I had not slept. Now by this time he had come to the park once more. For a while he sat down and wept, but at last, as he cast a sad glance at the foot of the bench, he saw his scroll. Okay, here Christian is, and he found his scroll right there on the ground, right by his bench. He caught it up with haste and put it into his cloak. Words were too weak to tell you the joy of Christian when he found his scroll. He put it into the breast of his coat and gave thanks to God. With what a light of step did he now climb the hill. But before he got to the top, the sun went down on Christian, and he was alone in the dark. Still he went on, and while he thought of his problem, he looked up and saw a great palace in front of him. The name of the palace was Beautiful, and it stood beside the highway. Christian hurried up, hoping that he could rest there a while. As he started to turn toward the doorway of the house, he saw something that made him tremble. 2 huge lions stood in the way. Now what shall I do? Thought Pilgrim. I see now why timorous and mistrust were driven back. Just then, Watchful, the man who kept the door of the palace, came out. When he saw that Christian hesitated, he came out to him and said, "Is the strength so small? Fear not the 2 wild beasts." So there's the 2 lions, 2 wild beasts. They are bound by chains and are put here to try the faith of those that have it, and to discover those that have none. Keep in the middle of the path, and no harm shall come to thee. Then I saw in my dream that still he went on in great dread of the wild beasts. He heard them roar, yet they did not harm him. He got by them and went on with joy until he came and stood in front of the lodge where Watchful lived. Christian. Sir, what house is this? May I rest here tonight? Watchful. This house was built by the Lord of the Hill to give aid to those who climb up it for the good cause. Tell me, where do you come from? Christian. I am come from the city of destruction, and am on my way to Mount Zion. But the day is far spent, and I would, with your leave, pass the night here. Watchful. What is your name? Christian. My name is not Christian, but at first it was Graceless. Watchful. How is it you came so late? The sun is set. Christian then told him why it was. Watchful. Well, I will call one that lives here. If she likes your talk, she will let you come in, for these are the rules of the house. Then he rang a bell. At the sound of the bell, there came out at the door a grave and fair maid whose name was Discretion. When Watchful told her why Christian had come there, she said, "What is your name?" "It is Christian," said he, "and I greatly wish to rest here tonight. I see that this place was built by the Lord of the Hill to protect from harm those who come to it." So she gave a smile, but the tears stood in her eyes. In a short time she said, "I will go get my sisters." Discretion ran to the door and brought in Prudence, Piety, and Charity. "Come in, thou who art blessed of the Lord," they said. "This house was built by the King of the Hill for such as you." Then Christian bent down his head and went with them to the house. Piety. Come, good Christian, tell us about all the things that have happened to you in your travels. Christian. With a very good will, and I am glad that you should ask it of me. Prudence. First, tell us what it is that makes you wish to come to Mount Zion. Christian. Why, there I hope to see him, with a capital H, that died on the cross. There I hope to get rid of all those things that make me sad and afraid. There, they say, is no death, and there I shall dwell with such as love of the Lord. Charity. Do you have a wife and children? Christian. Yes, I do. Charity. And why did you not bring them with you? Christian then wept and said, "Oh, how glad I would have been to do so, but they would not come with me, and they did not want me to leave them." Charity. And did you pray that God would help them to want to go with you? Christian. Yes, I prayed much about that, for my wife and children are very dear to me. Christian talked with these friends until it grew dark. Then he was led to a large room, the name of which was Peace. There he slept until break of day, and when he awoke, he sang a hymn. The sisters told him that he should not leave until they had shown him all the interesting things that were in that place. They showed him the rod of Moses, the lamps with which Gideon put to flight the host of Midian, and the ox goad with which Shamgar slew his foes. They brought out the jawbone of an ass with which Samson did such great feats, and the sling of stone with which David slew Goliath. Then I saw in my dream that Christian rose to leave Discretion, Prudence, Piety, and Charity. But they said that he must stay until the next day, because they wanted to show him the Delectable Mountains. They took him to the top of the house and bade him look to the south. When he did this, he saw, a great way off, a rich land full of hills, woods, vines, shrubs, and streams. "What is the name of this island?" asked Christian. The sisters told him it was Emmanuel's land. "And," said they, "it is as much meant for you and the like of you as this hill is. When you reach the place, there you may see the gate of the celestial city. Then they gave him a sword and put on him armor which covered him from head to foot, lest he should meet some enemy in the way. Then they went with him down the hill. Of truth, said Christian, it is as difficult to come down the hill as it was to go up. Prudence. So it is, for it is a hard thing for a man to go down to the valley of humiliation as you are doing now. And for this cause we have come with you to the foot of the hill. Although he went with great care, he slipped once or twice. Then in my dream I saw that when they had reached the foot of the hill, these good friends of Christian gave him a loaf of bread, a bottle of water, and a cluster of raisins. They had left him to go on his way. So here his friends met him at the foot of the hill, his friends over here, and this is Christian here. He's got armor on that helps him go down that hill. Christian had not been alone for long before he saw a terrible enemy named Apollyon coming to meet him. Then did Christian fear, and he wondered whether he should go back or stand his ground. But Christian thought that since he had no armor on his back, if he were to turn around, Apollyon would pierce him from behind. Therefore he stood his ground, and Apollyon met him with looks of scorn. Whew, that looks scary. Apollyon, where do you come from, and where are you going? Christian, I came from the city of destruction, which is the place of all sin, and I am on my way to Zion. Apollyon, but this I see that you are mine, for I am the prince of all that land. How is it then that you have left your king? If I did not have a hope that you may do me more good, I would strike you to the ground with one blow. Christian, I was born in your realm, it is true, but you are a hard master, and no man can live on your wages. Apollyon, no prince looks to lose his followers, and I do not want to lose you. So if you will come back, I promise to make you rich. Christian, but I am bound by vows to the King of Kings. How can I, in fairness, go back with you? Apollyon, you have changed, it seems, from bad to worse. Why not give him the slip and come back with me? That's Satan trying to get him to turn back. Christian, I gave him my faith and promised to be true to him. How can I go back from this? Apollyon, you did the same to me, and yet I am willing to forget that if you will just come back to me. No, said Pilgrim, I love my new master. I am his servant, and I will follow him. Apollyon broke out in a great rage and said, I hate that prince, and I hate his laws, and I am come out to stop you. Christian, beware what you do. I am on the king's highway, the way of holiness. Apollyon, I have no fear. Prepare yourself to die. With that he threw a dart of fire at his breast, but Christian caught it with his shield. Okay, so now God gave him armor to handle this battle that Satan is coming at him with. The armor of God. Then Christian drew his sword and fought as hard as he could. Apollyon threw darts as thick as hail, and, in spite of all that Christian could do, wounded him in his head, his hand, and his foot. This made Christian pause in the fight for a time, but Apollyon still came on, and Christian once more took heart. They fought for half a day until Christian, weak from his wounds, could hardly stand. When Apollyon saw this, he threw him down with great force, and Christian's sword fell out of his hand. Then said Apollyon, I am sure of thee now. Christian thought sure that he would die now, but he reached down, grabbed his sword, and cried, Boast not, O Apollyon! And with that he struck Apollyon a blow which made him reel back as one who had been wounded unto death. Then he spread out his dragon wings and flew away, so that Christian for a time saw him no more. Christian said, I will now give thanks to him that hath delivered me out of the mouth of the lion, to him that did help me against Apollyon. Then there came to him a hand which held some of the leaves of the tree of life. Christian took some of them, and as soon as he had put them to his wounds, they were healed. Okay, we're going to stop for now. I'll see you in a new location for the next video.